Aloha, Kauai Terrapin. Thanks for joining me this beautiful evening. You know, food is a funny thing. I mean, it's funny in that it's all around us, and if we're aware, we can see what we got. I've had this avocado tree all year, and finally, the last avocados are coming on, and they're starting to drop off. So it's so late in the season that these avocados are trying to move on, so to speak, so they can make buds for next year. And the several avocado trees that we have, because we have different kinds, have started to fruit already. So this is the last of this year's crop, and look at the size of some of these. These are like 2-pound avocados, beautiful, just gorgeous avocados, and they weren't as good early in the season as they are now. This is the last of this tree, and we had to reach up with a picker to get these. So I really want to say that it's very important to keep your fruit trees relatively low. When they get too high, you can't pick them even with a picker. And picking with a picker is much less fun than just picking them by hand. Maybe a small ladder is useful, but I'm trying to get them so they're lower. So the next thing to do is start to trim these trees lower so they're maybe 12 feet tall, something like that, so we can reach the fruit in a reasonable way, safe way. And they'll fruit and they'll just bear better. We do fertilize these avocados on a regular basis. We use mostly turkey manure, and we use some other fertilizer that's specifically for fruit trees that help the potassium get higher, so they're more inclined to fruit than they are to make more leaves and more roots. Now this year, I noticed we have a lot more fruit than we have leaves. And I think that limits our ability to have fruit. So I'm going to move towards a more balanced fertilizer this year. We're going to use more manure and keep all the soil really covered so we don't have to fight the weeds as much and fight with sort of a battle for nitrogen with the weeds and the tree. So we try to keep the guinea grass, all those weed sort of things away from these avocado trees so they can do well. Avocados don't like wet feet, so we have them planted at the top of the orchard so it will drain really well pretty swiftly. And we've never had root rot on these, but we have had some branch disease. I think they're too close to we have bananas close to them. I think they're too close to the bananas. It might be better for them to move the bananas further away from the avocados. Our first row is avocados, the second row is mostly citrus and cacao. The third row is mostly cacao, with a few other citrus at the very bottom. And then we have soursop and our mangoes at the bottom of the hill. I believe our mangoes are getting too much fertilizer, and that's why we're having a hard time with some of them fruiting. So we're going to back off on a lot of that stuff and use some gypsum and see if we can sweeten the soil a little bit so they'll fruit better. Wow, what an interesting day. It was a beautiful day of walking today, and visited some neighbors, played with the dog. I gave blood today. It's an interesting thing, giving part of your body, bodily fluid, that you spend a lot of energy making, you know. And this precious fluid that keeps you alive, that transports oxygen around your body. And I gave like a pint of it away today. And it was, I must say, a little lightheaded. I was a little lightheaded afterwards. Why do I do that? Well, I'll tell you, because I like to share things with you. My iron is a little high, just a little high. And I said, what can we do about that, doc? And my doctor said, well, you might consider giving blood once in a while. And I did. And I give blood about twice a year. And it benefits somebody else who needs the blood for operations and such. And it also gets rid of a little bit of my extra iron, which brings it down to the normal level, which apparently is a little better than having too much. The hemochromatosis is not a good thing for your liver and a few other organs as well. So that was an interesting experience. A lot of people, the appointments were not full, but quite a few people were giving blood today. It's a good thing to do. I always try to go just a little out of my way to do something outside my comfort zone for somebody else. I don't know. It seems to help me be able to do that more and more in different areas of my life. I want to thank a few people for being so kind after my shoulder surgery. Thank you so much for checking up on me, mostly. Calling, texting. How you doing? How you feeling? How's it range of motion? Going to PT? Yeah, I am. I was doing all that. I took all my aspirin and whatnot so I didn't get a blood clot afterwards. And I like less is more in the medication realm. That's my concept. And in fact, I don't take any. I'm almost 70. I don't take any regular medications. I don't find it necessary for my health. Well, I hope you're having a beautiful evening. You're looking at the reverse sunset back of me here. About a half hour it'll become dark. And since there's no wind out here, I'll probably mosey on inside behind the screen door somewhere and start to sit around the side with my beautiful wife, and maybe we'll, learn more about growing papayas or the Amazon basin or forensic files. Who knows what we'll do? My wife and I live a beautiful life, and I'm so glad that we've developed our relationships over 36 years or so. She's a very beautiful person, and we spend a lot of time working out our relationships and getting rid of our neuroses, working through our patterns and, letting them go, because that's the best thing to do with your patterns. Love y'all. Have a great evening. Aloha from Kauai, Terrapin. Gonna go turn off the camera now. Ha ha ha.